Hello, American Literature students. This is Elena Koch, your professor again, and I am making a video for you about our course syllabus. Some of the information here you already have gotten in the welcome and course intro video, but I just wanted to emphasize a few more things. First of all, my contact information is at the top of this page. During the summer session, I'll be checking my email frequently, multiple times a day. So if you have any questions at all along the way, make sure you email me back. And if I don't answer you within 24 hours, send your email again. My office is on the main building of Prairie State College's campus, so if you would like to meet, just let me know and we can try to arrange an appointment on campus. The course description is here at the top of the page, and I believe you've probably read this course description already in the catalog when you registered for the course. So keep in mind the objectives here are to obviously enhance your understanding of American literature since the Civil War and to develop your ability to read and write and discuss this fiction critically. One of the things that I want to emphasize, that I emphasized also in the intro to the course video, is how much time this course demands. This is a 16-week course that's compressed into 8 weeks. And because we're taking all of our class time and homework time and doing that in just 8 weeks, it's going to demand, on average, 18 weeks minimum per hour. I know that sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but the good news is that you'll be spending it reading and discussing some wonderful literary texts, and that should be rewarding. Some of the literature that we read, especially when we enter the 20th century, is going to address some sensitive topics. And so, of course, I'll expect us all to handle that with maturity and thoughtfulness that we would expect in a college class. Okay? Your week might be broken down into a couple of sections. At the beginning of the week, I'd like you to do most or all of the reading assignment for that week. And then in the middle of the week, I'd like you to work on discussing the literature by posting and responding. More on that in a little bit. There'll be a weekly short quiz that should be fairly easy if you've done the reading, and a short paper, about 300 words minimum, due each week. Most weeks it'll be on Friday. Okay, so the required materials. This textbook, which will be in our bookstore very soon, is where much of our reading will come from. I really encourage you to get this book. I will say that many of our texts are online for free, but the advantage of having a book is that you have it all there printed out in front of you, and you'll have the same page numbers that I do so that when we're discussing things and pointing to examples, we can all refer to the same page numbers. We'll be reading 2 novels. The Great Gatsby will be in a few weeks. The Underground Railroad will be in week 6, and there'll be some other texts that I post on D2L for you to print out. I also encourage you to read with a good dictionary, particularly because some of the vocabulary has changed over the last century and a half, and a dictionary will help you navigate what authors are trying to say. Please read this section carefully about what kind of hardware and software are required. Obviously, you need good, reliable computer and internet access. That's a given for this course. You should know where your public library computers are in case you need a backup this summer, or where the Prairie State College computer labs are. Okay. Please take a look at these things more carefully. Here you see the course breakdown, and I'll talk about these things in a minute. Okay. We have at Prairie State some college-wide general education learning outcomes, courses or outcomes that all of our courses are trying to achieve through the course of a degree program. Please take a look at these. Okay, so here are some responsibilities for the class. I've already mentioned the first one, making a serious time commitment to the class. Secondly, obviously, read, read, read. Read very carefully and slowly. If you just try to skim through these texts in a hurry, you won't do well. So you'll need to read thoughtfully. In an ideal world, you'll be able to focus on your reading by shutting down your social media programs and silencing your cell phone and shutting out the world as much as you can. I know that's really hard to do if you're like me and you have kids or other demands on your time, but do the best that you can. Again, read printed materials. The research shows that we retain more and we comprehend more when we read on the page as opposed to on the screen, and when you can take notes as you read. Annotate your text. Mark the passages you want to ask about, the things that stand out to you. Have a conversation with the text. Use your reading guides. I'll be posting a weekly reading guide with discussion questions and possible paper topics and other information about the texts. Please use those. Don't take shortcuts. Do the work. And again, read with a dictionary. The third major responsibility is to watch the short videos that I post each week. In those videos, I will typically provide the kind of information that I would give in a mini lecture at the beginning of a class, for example. So make sure that you watch those and take notes. And if there's anything I say in those videos that needs clarification, be sure to ask about that. 4, take our discussions seriously. Most of the work that we do this summer is going to happen over the discussions. So I expect that you'll post thoughtfully, of course, but that you'll also read everybody else's posts thoughtfully and consider other viewpoints. That's what's going to make the literature come alive when you see all these different ideas, these different details that different readers take from the texts. Number 5, obviously, in your work, you'll need to demonstrate that you've learned what you're supposed to have learned from reading the texts. And then finally, your last responsibility, your last major one at least, is to be in touch with me. I'll be making announcements regularly on D2L. If I need to get in touch with you individually, I'll use your PSC email account, so please do check those things. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm available by email if you have any questions at all, or if you would like to meet, just email me about arranging a meeting. Okay, here are some guidelines for emailing, some basic professional guidelines for emailing a professor. All right, now the assignments. Most of the reading assignments, or most of the assignments in general, will have a detailed handout posted on D2L so that you can read more. Okay, so I will talk a little bit more about discussions later in this video. There will be a syllabus quiz this week, just to show me that you've read the syllabus and understand the course policies. It's just 20 points, and this one is set up so that you can take it multiple times in order to show me that you've got the course guidelines and policies down. This is the only quiz that you're allowed to take multiple times. The weekly quizzes, again, should be pretty easy, provided that you've carefully read. So watch for those, and know that I will drop your lowest grade. There will be 7 quizzes this summer, but only 6 will count towards your grade, so you may skip one, or if there's one that doesn't go well, don't worry about it, I'll drop the lowest grade. Another major responsibility are the weekly papers. There will be 7 assigned. Weeks 1 through 7 will each have a response paper assigned at the end of the week. Only 5 count toward your grade, so that means that you can do all of them and drop your 2 lowest grades, or you can decide to skip 2. There's a lot going on this summer, so you might want to take a careful look at the course schedule and strategize about which 5 you know that you'll want to do. Okay? There is a separate handout on response papers and a sample paper available. Watch for a video on the response papers too. And then for the last week of the class, you will be submitting an expanded paper where you take your favorite response paper and develop it into a longer essay. Finally, there will be an exam the last day of class. There will be an open book take-home section, so to speak. And there'll also be a quiz function, a multiple choice, a true-false timed section. I'll make this available at least 2 days in advance. Okay, the late work policy is here. Make sure you take a look at that. I'm going to have to grade your papers really promptly this summer, and that means you're going to need to submit them on time. If for some reason you find yourself needing an extension due to illness or some sort of emergency, as long as you email me to request that before the deadline, I'll be completely willing to consider your request, but those must be made in advance. If you're watching this video, you know enough about D2L to have gotten here. I've provided here some links if you would like any extra help with D2L. Please note that you can send email through D2L, but you cannot read email through D2L. So if you send an email to me, you will have to actually go into your Prairie State email account to check for my response. Here on the next section of the syllabus is some information about plagiarism. You've all taken and passed English 101, so this information should be familiar to you already. Make sure that you read this over really carefully and let me know if you have any questions. The basics are, whenever you use somebody else's words and ideas, you need to give them credit. And whenever you use somebody else's words, you need to put them in quotation marks. In this class, whenever you cite an author, whenever you use an author's work, all you have to do is provide the author's name somewhere, and then after your quotation or example, put the page number in parentheses. If it's a poem that you're working with, then instead of a page number, you'll cite the line number. I'll be giving you examples of those. Okay. Another thing to be aware of is that it is not permissible to take a paper that you wrote for another class, whether in high school or college, and simply turn that in for this class. You need to do your own original work. Okay, in the next section of the essay, or of the syllabus rather, is a list of resources that you might need while you're a student here. Most importantly, if you have any technical problems with email or D2L, this is the link, this is the phone number, this is the email address. There's more information. There's a lot of good free services that you can get here at Prairie State. Disability services if you had an IEP in high school. We deal with it very differently in college, so here's your contact for that. The Writing Center information is here. This is a really wonderful resource if you would like help with a paper. The computer labs, the vet center, and so on. Okay, sorry that was a lot of information, kind of dry, but those are the basics about our course policies. Let me know if you have any questions about them. In the last couple pages of this document are the course schedule. You can see that I've divided it up week by week by telling you what video you should watch, what texts you should read, and what your weekly deadlines are. Again, I know this looks like a lot, but if you break it down and divide up your work over a few sessions each week, this will be manageable. Here are the readings for this week. I know, again, this looks like a lot, but most of these are very short. So you have a couple of excerpts from Mark Twain and 4 short stories, 2 short poems. And here are your week's deadlines. Okay. If we need to change anything, again, that'll be announced later this semester, but you can see that generally the course is laid out for you for all summer so that you can plan ahead. The week of July 4th, I've given you a slightly later list of deadlines. Okay, that's it for the syllabus. I will be making a separate video for the discussions and for the response paper assignment. Thanks for being a part of this class, and I look forward to meeting you on the discussion board.